Hello and welcome. My name is Meepolis, they, she, he, and this is Literally Graphic. And today we are looking at My Mom Had an Abortion by Beezus B. Murphy and Tatiana Gill. This is a queer memoir from PM Press and Shout Your Abortion, published in 2022. Content notes for starting your period, parental enthusiasm about starting your period, and Beezus' journey from anti to pro-abortion. Flipping to the creator biographies in the back of the book, Beezus B. Murphy is, quote, a Seattle-based dyslexic, asexual, lesbian, feminist, writer, and activist. She lives in Seattle with her mother, Shauna Murphy, father, Christian Peets, younger sister, Minnow Murphy, 3 pugs, 2 Siamese cats, and 1 chihuahua. Her hobbies include the creation and consumption of media, roller skating, and trying to keep up in school. Beezus struggled in school and didn't learn how to read until she was 8 because of her learning disability. But her kindergarten teacher, Jennifer Neiman, always said that when she did, the world would lose her to books. It did, in some ways, but Beezus was far more consumed in many worlds of her creation. Thanks to the influence of a Christian propaganda show disguised as a teen drama, haphazardly on Netflix, where anyone could find it, Beezus accidentally became anti-abortion for a few months. However, thanks to her pro-abortion feminist mom, Shauna, she quickly recovered and sought to write a book about her journey. And, quote, Tatiana Gill is a Seattle cartoonist drawing about social and reproductive justice, mental health, and addiction, and body positivity. Tatiana has been creating comic books for 25 years. Her recent books include Womb Genda, Blackouts, and The Fat Positive Coloring Book, and Recovery. She contributes to publications across the world and has illustrated several books. Her work appears in galleries and exhibits around Seattle. Tatiana creates comics for a number of local organizations, including Seattle/King County Health Department, Community Lunch, People's Harm Reduction Alliance, and Shout Your Abortion. Find her online at tatsgill on Instagram and Twitter, and at tatianagill.com. End quote. What keywords came to mind reading this relatively short memoir? Coming of age, slice of life, puberty, reproductive rights, Generation Z, living and learning. The synopsis is, quote, My Mom Had an Abortion is a unique coming-of-age tale. We follow our protagonist, Beezus B. Murphy, as she chronicles her evolving understanding of menstruation, reproduction, and abortion, and finds her place in a confusing world. Initially influenced by harmful narratives in pop media, such as the pregnant teenager cliché, we watch Beezus' ideas change as her body changes and as she learns more about the intricacies of her family history and her mom's own reproductive experience. She grows from a confused, out-of-place kid into a self-assured, empathetic, and strong-willed activist teen. As Beezus said, people shouldn't be shamed for getting or not getting abortions. Young people absorb the information that we gather from our surroundings. Sometimes it's good information and other times it can be harmful. But now I realize abortion is perfectly normal and should be safe and legal. Sprinkled with pop culture references, hilariously apt descriptions of unwanted body changes, and menstruation, like the chapter Blood, Bath, and Beyond, and instantly understandable revelations of growing up. This beautifully illustrated short graphic novel crucially fills a cultural gap around complexities of abortion, pop culture, body changes, and finding out where we fit in. End quote. A bit word-heavy at times, and definitely highly sincere. I found this teenage perspective of someone who is a couple decades younger than me to be really interesting. Not to mention that I grew up in an incredibly anti-abortion culture. I don't exactly remember when the tables turned for me. My process of going from passively anti-abortion to pro-abortion, and now actively pro-abortion, was probably a somewhat slow and steady process. At some point in my late teens and early 20s, I started learning more about a feminist perspective on rape culture, and eventually I think that just led to realizing people should have ultimate say over what happens in their body. Side note, as I hope you've already heard a couple of times, abortion is not a woman's issue. Not all women can get pregnant, and some men and non-binary people can. It's a health and body autonomy issue. Finishing this book, I've felt pretty inspired to see if I can track down some more comic/graphic novels that are pro-abortion, of all kinds. I'm assuming they are a bit thin on the ground, but I know there's at least one more. Not that I need another reading project, but this is important. As far as diversity goes, obviously with memoirs, things can be understandably one note. That said, I really appreciated how Beezus not only brings up her disability and sexual identities, but also takes some time in the book to explain her journey of self-discovery in these areas. We also get some insight to some of the other ways that Beezus is involved in activism, including Black Lives Matter and Shout Your Abortion. I was a little surprised that, assuming I remember this correctly, not too much gender stuff came up. Class was probably the very least touched on of all. To conclude, I think I'm going to go with 4 out of 5 stars. Bye y'all, keep reading and organized to end capitalist oppression. And as always, Literally Graphic is created on land that should be given back to the traditional landholders, which in this case is, to my knowledge, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Anishinaabe people, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat Nation.